Hey, good morning, everybody. I'll give some quick shout outs here before we get going. Sybil, good morning. Tanya, Vicky, stay at home mom detective. Vera, Chanel, Rhonda, Sawade. Good morning, everybody. Kate Bell, good morning. I missed you guys too. Kat H, good morning. Bonnie Baker, my sister is on her way in. Alicia, good morning. Leslie, time for a change. Nana, Carol, good morning, everybody. So good to see everybody. Sarah Jane, good morning. So nice to see you guys. Okay, Mitch, good morning, my dear. Mr. Withers' mom, good morning. Kathy, good morning. Kotu, good morning. So we have a lot to go over before this starts, you guys. Let me just get my Googles on so I can see. Good morning, Kim. Oh, I finally got a good night's sleep last night, you guys. Graylear, good morning. Good morning, everybody. It is cold here this morning, so. Okay, so everybody knows there was that Dateline thing that happened. Good morning, Lynette. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys. Okay, hang on a second here. I came across this morning, and it is just, to me, you guys tell me what you think. But I just find this creepy. This is what the house looks like now. I just find, I don't know what it is, but it's just like the vibes I get right now looking at this picture of the house compared to what it looked like before. When the cars were in front and that wreath was on the door and there was some decorations up and, the windows were there. To me, this just looks like, I don't know. It's just the vibe I'm getting from it is this is not a place you would want to be. And I know, like, with the windows here covered up and stuff, the gating here around it, no trespassing sign here. It's not that gets me. It's the house on a whole with all this boarded. It just gives me the creeps. It doesn't even look like run down, like Isabel says. Hang on, let me just get to this. No, it's not that. It's just, yeah, tearing it down after the trial, absolutely. But it has to stay there for this trial. It has to. It's not that it looks like that, Isabel. To me, it's, oh yes, I know, Marie, they have to keep people out. I get that. I'm just saying, just looking at this, like even before they boarded it all up and everything, I mean, it still was sad to see the house and, I got certain feelings about it. But seeing this photo, it's almost like you're being warned, like evil, like it's evil. Like they need to really cleanse that area because he left a lot of residue energy behind after doing what he did. There's a lot of energy from him. Just evil. I just get evil. And then I've got I don't know why I just can't click through these, but let me show you this one. This is outside the court right now. You can see that the news crews are starting to get all starting to get all set up for this morning, you guys. Yeah, there was 4. There was Kaylee, Maddy, Ethan, and Xana. Oh yeah, people would definitely want to get in that house. There it is again there. I don't know. Just looking at this, you guys, I just get the freaking creeps. Like, oh, how can I explain it? I'm trying to find the words to explain what it's giving me, but I feel like there's residual energy left there from Bryan. It's just creepy. It's almost like something else could happen. Like, we know there's nobody in here. There's nobody in the house. It's all boarded up. But I just feel like if somebody did get in there, something else would happen. Like, there's still that evil energy in there. It's just odd. And it's like, I've seen, like, after, the crime scene's been cleaned up, whatever, and places boarded up like this, I didn't get that feeling. But just looking at this, it's just like, I don't know what it is, you guys. But just looking at this, it's like evil is still in there and waiting. You know what I mean? And to the right over here, you guys, I found it weird. I thought it was a meme at first when I first seen this picture, because right here, it's just out of the frame over here. It looks like, when you go to a carnival, there's a ticket booth set up where you go and get tickets. It's on like a little trailer type thing. That's what they got set up over here. And I guess it's for the security, so they can go in there and sit whatever instead of having to sit in their car. But yeah, it's like a little ticket booth almost set up over here. It's just, I just find there's still so much evil left in this house. Just so much evil left. Okay, so let's get back now to what I've come across from I don't know how many of you got to see the Dateline episode. Yeah, like the evil has stayed within the walls. Exactly, Kristen. Okay, I'm going to let people know, for new ones that are coming in here, please do not share information that you are getting elsewhere, or you will be banned from chat. No other creators, no other information. I keep this factual here. The court doesn't start for another 35 minutes. So please do not share it. Whatever you're hearing other places, we don't do that here. You're very welcome, Mary Ann Welton, and good morning. Leslie says, I watched Mr. Brooks last night, the film, Kevin Costner. It made me think of Kohberger. Yeah, like Vicky said, I think it used to be such a vibrant, fun house, and now it's just evil. It's a scary shell that's left. Okay, so from this documentary or Dateline, whatever that was done, so So a source that says there was a rumor that was going around that Bryan was messaging them on social media. It's not correct, but he may have been stalking them via geotagging. So, when you use certain social media platforms, when you put out like a comment on something or whatever, somebody can click on your name and see exactly where you are at that point in time. So that's what they think was happening. Um, Also, I wanted to show you guys this. Okay, if I can find where I put it. Is it this one? Nope, that's not it. Hang on. Oh, I know where I seen that. Hang on. And I know a lot of people don't like this person, but she made some interesting observations. Okay, so we know that Bryan Kohberger did that, put out something for school or whatever he said, where he was trying to get information from other people who have done similar crimes to what he did. And he wanted to know information about and people that have served time or are still in jail for mass um, unaliving people and stuff. So he put out this questionnaire asking a bunch of questions. And I found this interesting. Okay. So one of the questions on that was, okay, and this is with the Papa Roger thing on. Everybody thinks that it was Bryan, and I'm really starting to believe it could be. Because on here, one of his questions was, how did you travel to and enter the location that the crime occurred? As Papa Roger on either Twitter or something, he put, did the killer drive, walk, or some combination of both to the scene? It's almost like he's giving some clues. If this Papa Roger is actually Bryan Kohberger, it just seems very weird that questions that he asked in his questionnaire, he's answering on different platforms. So one of the questions, how did you travel to and enter the location that crime occurred? Did the killer drive, walk, or a combination of both to the scene? These are what he was asking. Another question on there, he said, why did you choose that victim or target over the others? And then the Papa Rogers account says, regardless of what has been released, I believe this is sexually motivated crime. Another one, it's like, before leaving, is there anything else you did? How did you leave the scene? And he puts, why did the killer choose that house over all the others? What do we think is the entrance point to the crime scene? You know what I mean? So there's some things here that, this Papa Rogers account answered some of the questions that he had posed in that questionnaire. So I'm kind of leaning towards that it could very well be him. He was booted out of several of the groups, so then he started his own Facebook group. It's just, wondering. Okay, so let me go through some of this other information that I got. So in the spring of 2022, Bryan interviewed online for an internship at Pullman Police Department. After not getting the internship, he was hired at the University of Washington in July of 2022. BK moved to Pullman, and a month prior, he had purchased a K-bar and sheath from Amazon. They believe, whoops, what did I just do there? Hang on. They believe, an expert, and this is not the police talking, an expert says he thinks Bryan cast it apart with an individual who fits the fantasy. prototype of what he had in his mind. Okay. A friend of Kaylee's thinks BK may have came across the victims at Mad Creek. An expert thinks it could be via social media. Remember, I told you about that geotagging where they can, if you've commented on something, somebody can just click on your name and see exactly where you are. Bryan Kohberger had got a seatbelt violation ticket a mile and a half away from the house on the night that his phone first pinged in Moscow, one of only 12 times that his phone pinged in the area of the house. Okay, so there was also the mention where the cameras were that picked up that the screaming and yelling from that they said came from the house. That house that is like kitty corner. So as you're going up, say you're going up the driveway and going to walk into the back of the house from the front to get into those sliding doors, that house right there to the right. There was an incident that happened there where a girl's suitcase was taken from her car and put in the middle of the road, and she found an item from her front seat in her suitcase and found her underwear in her cup holder. There's no proof of significance to Bryan, but they said that was because in March, BK had already decided to move to Washington and was doing schooling online, but they can't rule it out that it could have been him. Also, this is another incident that really got me. Bryan had a coworker who had some weird things happen in her apartment. She told Bryan about it, who recommended to her that she get some video surveillance and that he could install it for her. So he installed a video security system inside of her apartment, which they say could pull up the camera to look at because he knew her Wi-Fi password. And experts think, and this is experts, not the police, experts think that Bryan could have orchestrated the whole thing, and it may have been a stepping stone leading up to the worst crime that he then committed. Yeah, and there's been no post from Papa Rogers since Bryan's been in custody. So thank you for sharing that, Nana. Multiple experts are saying that they believe either Kaylee or Maddy were the target, and I'm saying the same thing. My reads have said the same thing. My reads actually have said that it was Kaylee that was his target. Also in my reads, it said that he took something from the victim. If you go back to the very first read, just days after this happened, a lot of information that's coming out now came out a couple days after the incident happened. And I'm saying the incident so I don't have to say the word that's not allowed. In that very first read, just days after, I said right then, he was parked in the back, up the back of that hill, and he came and entered and exited through that sliding door. And that's exactly what they think happened now. I also said in that read that I believed Kaylee was the target upstairs, that he went upstairs first, probably came down to leave, but seen either Ethan and Xana. One of them had come out of the bedroom for something, and I believe that he's seen them, and that's why they were taken out. And that's everything coming out now. Okay. The big part too, I said he parked up behind the house in that parking lot. That's what they're thinking now. So a lot of stuff that I said in that read just a couple days after this happened is being proved now. So for those non-believers, also I just added to the Madeline Pantoa read that I did like last week. I go check that out again and look in the comments. I pinned a comment where Pascal does an interview with one of her friends. And in my read last week, it came out that there was something to do with her employment. And when Pascal interviewed her friend, it came out, the friend said that she had just started a new job and he went there and caused a scene and wanting her to quit. That came out in my read last week. That was just released yesterday. And in my read, it said that was the end. Like, when for you who know my Ancestor reads, you got the beginning and you got the end with what we got to look into deeper. The end was something about that employment. And her friend just said she had just started a new job and he wanted her to quit and this and that. And he had gone to her employment and had a big argument with her at her employment trying to get her to leave. So for those non-believers, anyway, let's get back to this. So they do believe that he was watching her too. So that could have been a prelude to what he did at the 1122 King Road house. Also, let me just see here. His DNA, well, not, I believe it was his DNA that was on the sheath that was left behind. The police have said that they believe, and this came out in my read, my very first read on this case, that he was intending to leave after what he did upstairs to Kaylee and Maddy. But I believe either Ethan or Xana came out of that bedroom, maybe to go to the kitchen for something because they just ordered food. This all came out in my read, you guys. Now the police are saying that they believed that he was intending to leave after going back downstairs, but encountered Xana, who was still awake because they had ordered the DoorDash, and she was using her TikTok, right? And I believe that he ruined his plan, so he had to take them out because they could have identified him, and they don't believe that they seen Dylan peeking through the door, and that all came out in my first read too. Peter John says, "Okay, bye." What's going on there? Let me just check chat here, you guys. Okay, sister, I see you. Cat H, hello. Hello, everybody coming in. Yes, it is going to be shown. Okay, so the investigators also said, not the police, but the investigators are convinced that BK would have been PR based on PR's posts about the sheath. Okay, so that's the Papa Rogers account on Twitter and everything else. Investigators, not the police, believe that it is and was Bryan Kohberger because he mentioned the sheath before the sheath was known about. When he got pulled over on his way back to his parents' house, they did not, the police had not yet connected Bryan Kohberger's Elantra specifically to the crime. So when he was pulled over, it wasn't on a bolo yet. Okay, so this is something else that came out that I felt was interesting. Investigators found out that one of Bryan Kohberger's sisters noticed him always wearing latex gloves, and they kind of pointed out that he lived near the crime and drove the same car that they were looking for. They also said that the family should have, like, I guess they were talking amongst themselves that they should consider that Bryan might have done this to the 4 students in Moscow, and they went outside to check his car, but by that point, Bryan had already been seen by law enforcement cleaning his car out with bleach. And there's also 2 other ID cards that were found inside a glove. Now, this was in the house. The IDs were placed inside of a latex glove and then placed into some kind of shoebox or something. So a lot of people were saying, "Oh, there was ID found inside the glove box of the car." No, they were put inside a latex glove and then put inside of like a shoebox or something, and it was found inside the house. So those are some of the takeaways from the Dateline episode. So I wanted to go through that. Now let's just see what's being said here so I can keep you up to date. So what is going to happen, you guys? Yeah, they can't prove that it was him, but it's on their radar. Good morning, Butterfly Dana. Okay, so let me see if anything else is being said here. Everybody is lining up at the courthouse to be able to get in. So what is going to be happening here today, you guys? They have a pool camera in there, but they cannot show it until the hearing is done. So what I will do is, if we are still on live when it is posted, I will play it. But otherwise, I will put a link in the comments of this video once we're done as to where you can go and watch it. But what they're doing is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different reporters in the courtroom who are going to be giving out information from the courtroom as things are happening. So we are going to know about it first. But if you do want to see the hearing, I will put a link to it in either my my community tab, or I will pin it to the top of this live once this live is done. Nobody can see it as it's happening, but I'm going to have information that's coming out of the courtroom as it's happening. So I will be able to tell you exactly what's happening. I've got 5 different sources up on 2 different monitors. So I will be able to, like, sometimes one reporter may say some stuff, but leave out other stuff. So that's why I got so many up, so we can get every single thing. Oh, you're very welcome. And like I said, they cannot put even though they're videotaping the whole thing, they cannot release it to the public until once the hearing is done. So I will be able to tell you everything that's going on, but if you want to see it visually, you will have to wait until it's posted online. Once it's posted online, I will put a link to it in my community tab. But we're still going to hear everything that's going on, okay? So you're not going to miss anything, and I will be able to give you in real time what is happening in the courtroom. Miss Willow on it. Yes, you're very welcome, Norma. Thank you guys for all being here and watching along with us. Okay, so let me get back into my YouTube studio. I can't put comments back up on the screen right now because I'm in my studio. I believe at some point, Norma, it will be on Dateline's website that everybody can watch it. Okay, so I'm just updating here, you guys, so I don't miss anything. Just to see what people are saying that are there. These are reporters. So there's 3 hearings today. There's the arraignment first, then there's the hearing on the gag order, and then a hearing on the discovery items. And this is the judge's last name is Judge. So it's Judge. So if you don't hear me talking for a minute, you guys, it's because I'm looking for information that's coming out. You'll be able to get it on probably Dateline's YouTube or something like that. So you will be able to get it on the internet at some point in time. So the court is supposed to start in 15 minutes, you guys. So as soon as I start getting information that's coming out of the courtroom, believe me, you are going to get it. And I've got 6 because I just found another reporter that's covering it also. Cat, we don't mention other channels. Yeah, Judge John Judge. Okay, let me just get back to this, you guys, to see if anybody else is posting yet about what's going on. They're being let into the courtroom or into the courthouse as we speak. Once they get into the courtroom, I believe we will be getting a lot more information as to what's going on inside the courtroom. Like I said, they do have a pool camera in there, but we're not allowed to live stream it. So it will be up once the court hearing is done, then it will be up. Okay, so they're inside the courtroom. It's very small. The entire right side is reserved for the prosecution's office and for family of the victims. So half of that courtroom is reserved for prosecution, family, and the family of victims. Thank you. Someone has too, and welcome. Welcome everybody coming in. Heather, hello. So they are inside the courtroom now. It's very small. Okay, let me see what else. So everybody's filing into the courtroom. It is set to start any time, I'd say within 5-10 minutes. Kohberger is not in the courtroom yet. So, and that's why I removed that comment earlier when they're saying, oh, Kohberger's in there. No, he's not. So please don't repeat what you're hearing other places. Prosecutor Bill Thompson just walked in. So the prosecution is walking in. Butterfly Dana, John came out of the womb wanting to be a judge. Okay, everybody getting seated now. There's not much room left for spectators, you guys, because it's basically most of the courtroom has been reserved. Like I said, family of the victims and prosecution is taking up the whole one side. The other side is reporters. A lot of them are benches reserved for the reporters. So there's very little room for any spectators. Nah, he's not going to plead guilty. He's going to plead not guilty. He needs to be in the limelight. He thinks he's got this beat, you guys. So, yes, he does. He thinks he's smarter than everybody. And I know people are bebopping around trying to find it live. You're not going to find it live, you guys. This is the closest you're going to get to live, is me letting you know what is coming out of the courtroom as it's happening. Even though they have a pool camera in there, they are not allowed to show any of this until the end of the day. So if you think you're going to go run around somewhere and go and find it live, it's not going to happen. The judge, and I'm surprised actually that the judge let the camera in there. But with that being said, yes, they are allowed to record it, but they're not allowed to show it until the end of the day. So you're going to get it right here, exactly what's happening in the courtroom, live, real time. You don't have to wait until the end of the day to be able to see it. So what I will do is at the end of the day, once they are allowed to post the live, then I will put the link, either I will pin it not only to the comments in this video, but I will pin it in my community tab on my YouTube channel. So that's where you will be able to find it. But the judge is not letting this be live streamed anywhere. So like I said, this is the closest you're going to get to hear what's going on in real time. Yeah, he wants to relive what happened. So they are waiting for Bryan to be brought in, and they're waiting on the judge. Everybody else is in the courtroom. Whoops. Hang on, you guys. Dang it. Okay. Okay, so here is the official. So there's a reminder that's being given out. A reminder: streaming the hearing live is prohibited. The stream center will have the ability to give us the replay once it's released to everybody in the media. and it will be released as soon as it is legally permissible. So you will not be able to watch this live. So this is going to be the closest you get to being able to hear what's going on live. Like I said, there's people here in the courtroom where I'm going to bring you all the information as it happens. So the prosecution, the defense lawyer, Bryan is not in there yet. He should be being brought in anytime. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that, Sarah. Mitchie Girl says there's more than one person involved. Interesting. Why do you think that? I'm not attacking you for your beliefs because you can believe whatever you want. I'm just interested in knowing, why do you think there was more than one person involved? I'm interested in hearing your theory on that. Leslie says there are 3 other incidents he might be linked to. It could very well be. Aww. The victims' families are all in the courtroom now, the ones that are wanting to be there. And Kaylee's sister, Olivia, has the baby with her little baby. Aww. You're so welcome, Sybil. So Kaylee's sister is there, and she brought her little baby with her. Aww. I think there's things that show that he was doing certain things that he ended up gaining the courage to finally do what he did. I believe he stalked them for some time. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that there's even Kaylee's family has just walked in. The rest of the family of Kaylee's has walked in. And there's also a teenager. They don't know who he is or who he or she is. But there's a teenager also. It's really quiet in the courtroom, and apparently all you can hear really is the baby. Aww. If I'm quiet, you guys, it's because nothing else has come out yet. Hey, Nan. Hello, Marie. Pamela. Hello, Sarah. Hello. Vera Ray. Hello. Kelly B. Hello. Karen. Good morning. So that's all you can hear is the baby. Oh. Okay, I'm getting rid of that one because okay. So any minute, you guys, it is going to start. So there's about 25 people sitting in the family section. There's a lot of people that have not really been in front of cameras before that are there that are family of the victims. Many of them are already very emotional. So there's about 50 people total. That's including the family and media and any members of the public that did make it in. And it's odd that there's a member of the public that made it in that they're saying is a teenager, seems to be by themselves. So that's interesting. And Bryan Kohberger is being brought in. And like I said, you guys, you can't see this anywhere. They're not allowed to live stream it. It can only, the cameras that are in there capturing the whole hearing can only be released once all 3 hearings are done. Oh, so right now it's still really quiet in the courtroom. All you hear is the reporters typing away and Kaylee's sister, Olivia, her little baby, making soft cooing noises. That's all you hear in the courtroom is the little baby and people typing away on their laptops. Oh. Yeah, a lot of the reporters are saying that there's a lot of family members that they don't recognize that are in the courtroom. There is an overflow room, but from what's being seen, none of Bryan Kohberger's family are there. So either they didn't come or they could be in the overflow room. And what I find interesting, you guys, is what I read earlier, that his sister became suspicious when he was home in Pennsylvania at his parents' house. Suspicious to the point where they said he's always wearing latex gloves. And they thought like his car matched. He lived there. He took off. So they went to search his car, but it had already been cleaned with bleach. So I believe his sisters just may think that he did it too, because they got very suspicious of, him wearing those latex gloves in his parents' house. So I don't know what the delay is here, you guys, but so there were reserved seats for Bryan Kohberger's family, but there's nobody there. I don't know what the holdup is, and people aren't talking about it, so at least not putting it out there. Okay, so it looks like they're getting ready to start. The first up is going to be the arraignment. So they're awaiting for Bryan Kohberger to be brought in and the rest of his defense team. So it's the defense team holding things up. Oh, thank you, Karen. I'm glad you're here. So it looks like it is Bryan Kohberger's defense team that's holding this up. Ironic, because they're the ones that are saying they haven't got all the disclosure and everything. And they have gotten quite a bit of the disclosure. And there's no real exact timeline until it's set once he's arraigned. Then there's going to be timelines. You have to have this information in by a certain date. Up until then, they can produce evidence right up until that date. One says, do you feel the victims are at proceedings like this in spirit? For I do believe they're watching it from above. Yes. Okay, Bryan Kohberger is now in the room. He's just entering the courtroom now. I will watch chat as much as I can, you guys, but I am bebopping all over trying to get you all the information as it's happening. Like I said, some reporters put out one thing. Another reporter may put out more, but with more detail. So that's why I got, I think 5 or 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 open now, and I'm getting you information from everywhere. So Bryan Kohberger is in the courtroom. They are waiting on one of his lawyers. First up is the indictment. So Bryan Kohberger is in handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit. He looks slightly skinnier than he was the last time he was seen. No, he is not in street clothes. He is, I just said he has arrived in handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit. He looks slightly skinnier than when we last saw him. He's also wearing a bulletproof vest underneath his orange jumpsuit. And this is what I mean. Like, some reporters put out just bits and pieces. Others get more in depth. So that's why I'm jumping all across these 6, because some may give a little bit more information than the others. So this way we don't miss anything. Well, it's interesting he has a bulletproof vest on. The judge is now reading Kohberger his rights and his charges. Kohberger is looking straight ahead and nodding a bit to show he understands what the judge is saying. So he's being read his rights right now. Kohberger just said, yes, I do, when the judge asked if he understands everything, and he says, if he understands anything he says can be used against him, he answers, yes, I do. Judge John C. Judge is reminding Kohberger of his rights to have an attorney, to have a speedy trial, to have a speedy jury trial, the right to cross-examine witnesses in his trial, testifying in his own defense, and the right to remain silent. Anything you do say could and will be used against you, the judge says. He says, do you understand that? Kohberger says, yes, I do. So the judge is now going over the indictment with Kohberger. So that means that they are going to be reading the charges that are against him. The judge is asking Kohberger if his name is if his name in the indictment is correct. Kohberger says yes. All he's answering to questions is either yes or no. Did he shave off his eyebrows? Oh. So this will probably take a little bit, you guys, because they're going to read through every one of the charges that he is facing. Okay, so the judge is reading the charges against Bryan Kohberger, beginning with felony burglary with intent to take someone's life. Count 2 is first degree. I'm not going to say the M word, you guys. You guys know what I mean. So count 2 is first degree of Madison Mogen. Count 3 is first degree of Kaylee Gonclaves. Count 4 is going to be probably Ethan. And count 5 will be Xana. People on the family side of the court are crying and wiping tears. So felony burglary and 4 counts of first degree taking of somebody's life. So first degree, they're probably going to go for the death penalty. And if he's found guilty, he would face the firing squad. I don't know. Today it wouldn't be released, but I don't know if the prosecution is going to go for the death penalty in this case. I would assume they would. And each time the judge is asking him if he understands like the charges against him, all he's answering is yes or yes, I do. Like, being very, I guess, direct to the point. That's it. Count 4 is first degree of Xana Kernodle. The judge keeps repeating her name because he misspoke. This is hard. I'm sorry, he says. Count 5 of first degree is Ethan. Judge is reviewing penalties of the charges if he's found guilty. Felony burglary is 1 to 10 years. First degree taking of somebody's life is life in prison or the death penalty. So he's letting him know what he is facing. So felony burglary is 1 to 10 years, and first degree is life in prison or the death penalty. I'm anxious to see if they're going to go for... I would assume that they are going to go for the death penalty, you guys. Kohberger is saying that he understands all the charges and the penalties. And with the felony burglary, the maximum is 10 years and a $50,000 fine. So that's something else that the judge could tack on, is a $50,000 fine. And if that fine is tacked on, that any money that goes into his accounts at the jail would be confiscated. The judge again asks him, do you understand each of the charges and the penalties? He says, yes. So when they asked him what he pleads, he remained silent on his plea. So the judge is ordering a not guilty plea on his behalf. He wouldn't even say not guilty. He stood up and he remained silent on his plea. So the judge is entering a not guilty plea for him. The prosecution now has 60 days to seek the death penalty. So from today on, they have 60 days to file with the court that they're seeking the death penalty. So apparently he just stood up and stood silent when the judge asked him what he was going to enter as a plea. He just stood up and stood silent, looking at the judge, not saying nothing. So the judge says, okay, I'm filing a not guilty plea on your behalf. And he's not waiving his right to a speedy trial. Kohberger's attorneys are asking the judge to set the trial date for October. She says it will take at least 4 weeks, maybe 6. So he's not waiving his right to a speedy trial. He wants to go directly to trial. The prosecution is also agreeing that it's going to take at least 6 weeks. So even his lawyers remain silent. What a coward. So on each count, the judge entered a not guilty plea. So since the prosecution is agreeing that it's going to take at least 6 weeks, they're looking now for dates. Okay, I got the trial date set for October 2nd. Starting at 8:30 a.m. every morning. So he is going directly to trial. So there we go. We got the trial date, October 2nd, starting at 8:30 a.m. That is going to be Bryan Kohberger's trial when that is going to start. So he did not waive his right to a speedy trial. And although he didn't want to waive his right to a speedy trial, he wanted it at the very end of the cutoff time. So they wanted as much time as possible. So the last day that they could start the trial probably would have been around a week or so around October 2nd. He has the right, yes, Leslie, through his whole trial. He doesn't have to present any evidence. He doesn't have to speak, nothing. The prosecution can put forth their case and then rest. The defense can say, we aren't putting a defense on, and they can rest right there and then. They don't have to. The prosecution has to prove their case. The defense doesn't have to prove that he's not guilty. They don't even have to put a defense on. They don't even have to do opening statements or closing statements. They don't have to do nothing if they don't want to. So it's kind of, we're going to have to wait and see. So court is adjourned. Now, I don't know if they are going to be covering the gag order. I don't know if the judge is going to allow the reporters to stay in for that. We'll have to just wait and see right here. Okay, I've got different reporters saying different things. I've got one reporter saying October 22nd. I've got two other reporters saying October 2nd. So I think that could have been a typo on the one's part, because it's October 2nd at 8:30 a.m. it starts. I've got 4 reporters saying October 2nd and one saying October 22nd. And October 22nd is a Sunday, so he hit the 2 twice by accident. Okay, so let's see if the rest of it is if they're going to allow the reporters to report on the rest of it, which is the gag order. They're having a hearing regarding that, because the media is fighting it, and so are some of the attorneys, and there's discovery motions. But I don't think that they are going to be able to report on that. I think they're still under the gag order. I'm just going to keep checking here just to be sure, you guys, but that's what I am thinking. Because I do believe that stuff is all still under the gag order until the gag order hearing is heard. Okay, yeah. So the rest is still under a gag order, you guys. So we will not be hearing that part of it. So there we got it. He did not waive his right. He stood up and he stood looking at the judge silent. He would not enter a plea. So the judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf for each and every charge, the 4 first degree and the felony burglary. So that's what he is going to be facing. He did not waive his right to a speedy trial. He is going to trial October 2nd. So the judge will now be hearing the motion for the gag order and also for the discovery violations, but they're not allowed to be in there for that, because everything is under still the gag order. So they have adjourned for the day on what they can report on. So with that being said, you guys, when this is done, if you go to the blue PayPal link under the description, you can leave a tip for Willow. Oh, thank you, you guys. No, his family didn't even show up. So please, I'm going to be ending this live. And I'm going to let you know in the comment section underneath this video, once it is done, I will post the link to where you guys can go and watch this if you want to see the visual now. It will be probably within the next half hour that they are going to now release the video of this court hearing. They were not allowed to show it live, but they can release it later. So I will post that in my community tab and in the comments. I will pin it to the top of the comments in this video once we're done and it is up. So with that being said, you guys, I will let you guys go for now. Thank you for all joining here and listening. Thank you to the mods for being here. And we will see what's going to happen. We probably won't get any information on the ruling on the gag order or the discovery violations until later on. Okay? So with that being said, you guys, please take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. Always be aware of your surroundings. I love you guys to the moon and back. Till next time. Bye-bye.